Hello and welcome to your advanced Java programming course, and in this video we are going to be discussing the compareTo method. Now before we begin, I would like to introduce the number place system for letters and characters. The number place system, or the ASCII table, is the number that the letters or characters are assigned. For example, the letter A in the lowercase is assigned the value of 97. B is then assigned the value of 98, C 99, and so on. And it goes with characters as well. For example, the colon symbol has 58 assigned to it, the semicolon has 59, and so on. You can check the ASCII table online to see the exact values. Now the reason I'm telling you about the ASCII table is because the compareTo method uses ASCII values to compare certain characters. For example, let's say I create the string variable string word 1 equals, and I'll give it the value of just the letter A, lowercase. And for our second variable, I'll create word 2 and I'll give it the value of B. What the compareTo method does is it takes the values of these two, for example A and B, and it will get their ASCII values and deduct them from each other, depending on which order you put them in. So for example, it will convert A in its head to 97, and then it will convert B to 98, and then it will deduct 97 from 98 or 98 from 97, and it will return a value in the integer form. So let's use the compareTo method now. I'll create an integer variable to place the value in. So int num equals, and now this is where we use the method. Now depending on which order you place your variables in, it can return a different value. The first one we place is the original number, and the second one we will place into the method is the number that is deducted from it. So if I place word 1, the value of 97, first, and I'll place the word 2 second, the value it will return will be -1, because 97 minus 98 is -1. So let's test that out now. I'll type in word 1. As always with all methods, we type the variable name first, the dot, and the method's name, compareTo. In the brackets, as you can see, it's already found another string variable to compare it to. In the brackets, I'll have word 2. Now, let's create a system out print line so we can see the value and place the num variable inside. Now, when I run the program, you will see it has returned the number -1. As we predicted, it has now taken the two values, 97 and 98, deducted them from each other and given us -1. Now I'm going to show you what would happen if we replace them. So let's say word 2 is compared to word 1. This will then take word 2's value and minus word 1's value, giving you the number 1, which is correct because B is 98, A is 97, 98 minus 97 is 1. Now what is the use for the compareTo method? Well, we use the compareTo method to organize strings or characters in alphabetical order. This is the most common use for the compareTo method. So for example, let's take these two lines away, and now we're going to add an if statement. So we will type in if word 1 dot compareTo word 2 is less than 0. This will then mean that A should come before B. Then we print out word 1 and we print out word 2 in alphabetical order. And now we create an else where we'll type in the reverse. So word 2 and then word 1. So if our program works correctly, it will compare the two word variables to each other and organize them alphabetically. So if I run the program, you'll notice A is printed before B. So let's say if I switch it to B and A, you'll see it is still written A before B, because this does not fulfill the clause in the if statement, so it will use the else, which is printing the second word variable before the first. Now this method will also work for full words. For example, we don't have to have a single letter, we can have names. So let's give an example name of Robert and a second name of Phil. Now as we know, P becomes before R. So what this will then do is read it character by character and it will print Phil before Robert. So let's run the program and we'll see it is indeed doing exactly that. It reads the first letters and compares them. Now this can also work if the names are the same. So let's say I type in another name that begins with P. Now if these two names were organized in alphabetical order, Peter would become before Phil, because E becomes before H. The program is intelligent enough to do a character by character comparison. So it'll compare the P's, realize they are 0, move on to the next one. The next one, being E and H, compares these two characters to each other, and that will return a value. Now when we run the program, we see that Peter is indeed printed before Phil. Now before we end the video, I'm going to show you what the number value is. Now when we run the program, you see that the value is -3. Now what you might have expected was -1. The reason for this is because E has 2 more places before H. So then it is 2 numbers higher than E. So therefore if you minus H's number from E, you'll get 2 more less than what you expected when you compared A and B. The way to better show this is if I have the letter C in word 2 and the letter A in word 1. Now when we run the program, we'll see it's -2. That's because the value for C is 99. That's the brilliance of the dot compared to method. It doesn't just look at whether it comes before or after, it looks at the difference. So therefore we can organize anything from large strings to small characters. I suggest practicing with the dot compared to method before moving on to the next video. Experiment with the ASCII table by comparing characters themselves and other letters, and also doing your own sort of alphabetical order program, so that you can learn to organize characters and words. In the next video, we'll discuss the project for this section of the course.